Okay, so we're going to look at how to build this, how to design this fence. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce you briefly into what um, profile managers do, right? So I'm going to use this design to explain to you what profile managers are, and also how you can make that fence possible. So to put it simply, what a profile manager is is a section of a profile you want to draw. Sounds like big English, but let me just explain to you what it is. So let's use this short wall here that is going to house a flower bed. Let's use it as an example. So what I have here is a wall that I drew and a slab on top of the wall, right? What if there's a way we can draw this and this in one go without having to draw this wall and then draw this slab? So what Profile Manager helps you do is to cut a section through this whole thing, right? Get a profile of this using the section, and you can now use that to extend everything and draw this out. I'll show you how that works. So let's use this as an example. Let's say this wall is what's the height of the wall? 750, and this slab is 50 mm thickness. So let's go to our profile manager. Go to options, element attributes, and profile manager. Right. Let's create a new profile and call this. Let's just call it flower bed. You can call it anything. Let's just call it flower bed wall. Okay. Let's click OK. Now what you have is this blank page where you can draw out your profile. This point here is going to be your reference, where your reference line will be. So keep that in mind. Whatever you're drawing, make sure where you want your reference line to be is where this point starts from. So we're going to use our document option. We're going to use line now to draw out the section of our wall. That wall was 750. So we're going to make the line 750 by say 150 thickness, 6 inches block, right? So let's draw this. And then on top of our wall now, we had 50 mm slab, right? We make this 50 by say, if this is 150, let's just make this 200. Okay, and complete it. So now this is a section of that wall, but that's not all. We have to fill this section. We have to fill this line in because it's the fill that gives us the profile. It's this fill that gives us the profile. So we have the wall fill and we have the slab fill. Let's take the wall fill now. Let's change the material to masonry block, and let's make this concrete. Right. Now we can edit this and override the surface material. Let's make this red brick, and the slab, you can change it from brick to say, let's make it stucco white, right? So basically this is the profile, this is the section. If you cut that wall through, cut a section, this is what you're going to get. Let's save it as okay. And one more thing, you can use this with wall, or you can use it with beam, or you can use it with column or whatever, but let's just keep it as wall and beam for now, right? And let's save it, and we can exit it. So if we go to our 3D now and open our wall settings, under our basic our structure options, we have basic structure, and we have the composite structure. The third one is complex profile. In complex profile, that's where you're going to find the profiles you've drawn out. I have different profiles, but if we just look for flower bed wall, the one we drew, this is it. Let's go to the model, and okay, let's turn off all these override material so that so that we can use the material we created for it when we're designing it. Let's click OK. Now I'm just going to draw this out in 3D so you see. If I draw this out like this, let's just do something like this. I'll show you. You see, in one go, we were able to, you see that in one go, we're able to create this. We're able to create this just using our profile manager. We can draw it out, we can draw it anyhow we want. Now there's a profile of our wall. So anyhow you want to draw it, you still have this profile. Now you can also edit this profile. So let's turn off the grouping. Click on this wall, right click, you see this option here, edit selected composites. We can go here and let's say we want to add something to this. We can click this and maybe add something like this. Just add something extra to it, just as an example. If we save it now and click and exit, you can see that we've added something now to it, right? So whatever adjustments you make, since this is the profile we are using, it automatically adjusts in the profile. So that's what profile manager does. So for example, this is my concrete fascia here that I designed here. I designed it using complex profile. So if I right click and go to the editing, you can see that there's a profile I drew of the fascia, concrete fascia, right? I drew that profile, then I use my wall to draw it out. So that is the idea. That's what complex profile does. So that's what we're going to use. That's one of the things we're going to use to build our fence. So let's delete this and let's delete this. So to build our fence, we're going to use a combination of complex profiles and railings. That's what's going to help us build this particular fence you see here. So let's start with the fence. Let's start with this short wall here. This short wall, let's go back to the other design. For the short wall, let's say we want to use a height of maybe 750 for that short wall before we now start having the railings above it so that somebody can see through into the compound. So what we are going to do is to draw out a profile of that short wall using our complex profile like I explained to you earlier. So let's go back to options, element attributes, and profile manager. Let's create a new profile and call it short fence wall. Short fence wall. Okay. Then we can start drawing out our wall. Let's say we want our wall to be 750 by, let's also use 150 mm, and let's complete it here. Then at the top of it, we can say we want to make this maybe 50 by 50, draw it out, or we can just do this and mirror it to this other side. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, I don't know if you can mirror it. I think you should be able to mirror it. Okay, you can't mirror it. So I can do this here too. 50 by 50 and draw it out. Okay, so let's just say this is the wall we want to use. Let's fill it out just like we did the other time with the flower bed side. So we can change this. I can change this to say, let's just make it both stucco white, and this one too, let's make it stucco white. Don't forget to change the material. We can change this to masonry block and change this to concrete. So we have a profile of the wall we want to draw. Let's save the profile and exit. Okay. Now I don't know. I like modeling in 3D. Some people might find it difficult, but I suggest you do that. It gives you a better feel. That's just how I like doing it. But we can also do it in floor plan. So let's go to the wall and using our complex profile, let's look for short fence wall. Okay. Make sure all these are off. And let's just draw this wall here. Or let's not draw it to the end so that we can give space for maybe a gate or something. So using our complex profile, we now have a profile of that short fence. All we need now is fence posts and railings and the fence railings, right? We are going to do that using our railing tool, and I'll show you one very interesting way to create it just in one go. So let's go back here. We want to create these posts, right? That's what we want to get. We can do that by first designing the posts and then saving the post as a railing object so that we can pick it when we go to our railing settings. I'll show you how to do that. So let's just go to our floor plan where we are going to have this. So if you look, this is our short fence. So we want to create a profile. We want to create that fence post now. So let me just use our basic profile for our wall. Let me go to the settings. Let's make the height of the post, maybe the fence height to be 3 meters. Let's make it a 3-meter fence. Let's use 150 mm wall for what we want to design. So I'll click OK. Let's say the fence will be 450 by 450. So we can do this. We can say 450. Oh, let's go back. 450 by 450 by 450 by 450. Now if we select this and select in 3D, we started designing our fence now, right? Okay, so we want to put something on top of this fence now, like whatever design. We can use a slab for that. Let's do this like this. First of all, let's change this from glass. Let's change this material now from glass to say let's make it stucco too, and let's change the thickness. It's at 10 mm now. We can change the thickness to 50 mm, and let's use this. Offset all edges. Let's offset it by 50 mm. So you can design it how you want, but let's just use this as an example. Or let me just show you something else. Let's just add one very little design to it. Let me highlight this wall now. Let's go to the wall settings. Under model option, we can go to log details and say use log wall and square logs. If you do that, what you're going to have is this. You can have this nice design on your wall. Let's just change the material from brick wall to stucco too. Let's change it to stucco. Okay, so you can have this nice design. So let's just use this for our fence post. So with this, what we are going to do is let's group this together first, and we highlight both of them and go to file, libraries and objects, and you save the selection as railings posts. Remember, we'll go to File, Libraries and Objects, save selection as railing posts. When you save, click OK. It will give you an option. How do you want to save it? Let's make this, let's say, front fence posts, right? Let's just call it that and save it. Click OK. It's going to take a, let's say save. OK. Now we're going to go to our railings. This is where it starts getting interesting. So let's go to our railings options. Now, if you open yours, I've done a little editing in my end, but if you open yours, you might have something like this. Your railings might show, like say, like something like this. You're going to see all of these plenty different settings for your railings. They are very simple actually. Let's start from here. There's a top rail, we have handrail, we have balusters, we have inner posts, and we have another rail under here. So let's just remove all of this for now. If you want to remove anything, you can just click on it. It's going to turn green, and you click this minus sign to remove the rail. Remove the rail. If you want to add it back, like this handrail, you click the plus sign, and it should ask you where do you want to place it. You know, just hover your cursor on this, place it anywhere, right? It's going to place. But let's click on it and delete. Let's click on these balusters, delete them too. Let's click on these inner posts, delete it. Let's just keep everything fresh. Now we have a blank slate to design on. What we need is this inner posts. We're going to use this to get our fence posts, right? So let's click on this inner post, click on add inner post, and just place it anywhere. We're going to now go to the inner post settings, and under the DDL components, we are going to look for front fence posts. This way it's saved. Our profile. Let's click on it. Now you can see it here. Let's just click OK for now, and let me draw it out so that you see what it looks like. Okay. So let me go to the ground floor and draw it in the ground floor so that you see. Let's go here and say we draw it out from here. Now, if you see this drawing, you see this thicker line as a reference line. You see the other thin line in front of it. It's telling you that there's an offset to this, and you can change that from here. It's either you offset it to the left, offset it to the right, or let it be in the center of your reference line. So I'm going to just use the center option. Now you see that line has disappeared. So let's draw it out now. Let's just draw it out, and we go to 3D. Now in our 3D, you see what we have, right? We now have this fence post. But of course, you can notice that they are too close together. That's when we start to do the editing. We start to do our settings. Let's go back to our railing settings. You highlight the rail, go back to settings, and you can see this distance from previous posts is at around 1.3 meters. Let's change this to, like, say 3 meters and click OK. Now you see they have been spaced out much better. Okay, but that's not all. We still need to add railings in the middle here, right? Let's highlight our railings again and go to the settings. We can use balusters to do that. Let's click add balusters and just click. We are going to have our balusters. We can go to our baluster settings and look for, don't use this railing post if it's going to give you something different. Let's look for, say, let's use cast iron. We can also create a profile for our balusters, but for now, let's just use this cast iron post. Click OK, and let's see what we have. Now, you can see that It's too short and it's way on the ground. Of course, remember, any problem you have, just go back to the settings. There's something in the settings that can help you figure it out. Let's go back to the settings. And if we go back to our segments, we can see that our segment is 1 meter height. Even if we are designed our railing post to be 3 meters, but the railing itself is 1 meter. So we can change that to 3 meters. And if we click enter, you see that our railings have now become 3 meters, right? But that's not all. That's not all. We still have to raise this from the ground, right? This is pretty much going into this our short fence. And remember, this our short fence was 750 plus 50 mm thickness of this slab on top, which makes it 800. So let's go back to our settings. Let's go back to our balusters. And under our baluster settings, we are going to see segment top and segment bottom. This segment bottom is currently 0. Let's make it 800 and see what we have. Now, you see that now we've made it 800. Our balusters have come up to where they should be. But if you want to leave it like this, that's fine. I will prefer to have maybe railings, a bar across this just to hold this in place. So what we can do is go back to our settings, use handrail. Well, yes, we can use handrail for this. Let's add this and look for somewhere, let's see, somewhere around here to add our handrail and click OK. Now you can see that we have our handrail, but if you look closely, you see that the handrail is not in the center. You see it has shifted a little bit to the left. Why is that? I'll show you why. Let's go back to our handrail settings. You can see that if we look at these horizontal offsets, it's offset 60 mm to the right, to the left. Let's make this 0. And let's say we change the thickness from 40 mm to say 25 mm. Now when we do that, we can have a bar here. We can either do that, or let me just give you another. We can also use our complex profile. Remember, this is our short fence. Let's go to our short fence now and edit its components. Okay, we can look for a line. Let's just use a line. Let me just draw a line at the center, and let's say this is 3 meters. This 3 meters. We want to have railings. We want to have bars, maybe somewhere around here. Let's make this the radius of 15, which will give us 30. Around here, maybe one here and one somewhere here, right? Let's clean this out. I'll put a fill here. Let's change this fill material. Let's change it to say, you can use any of these though. Let's just use stainless steel, right? And pick it here, do the same thing here. Let's get this off the way first. Stainless steel, okay? Let's highlight these two. Highlight these two, override the material, and look for stainless steel as a material, okay? Now, we've added railings to this our profile. If we click save, it's going to take us back to 3D. Right? And then you see, what do we have? We have these railings here. If you look closely, you'll see them. We have these railings here. Yes, you can always go back to your settings and adjust the railings to come to the center so that they can match with this vertical railing. So there are different ways to do it. Now, of course, you still have one at the edge. We can make a few adjustments here. We can also take this one here. Let's go to floor plan. We can take this and say put it at the end of the fence. Let's just put it somewhere here and view in 3D. What do we have? This is what we have. So that's how you can draw this fence. Now, there are other things you can do to give this railings different designs. Those are more advanced stuff. But this is simply how you can draw this fence out. Just using the profile manager here and railings for this. And you have this fence. So that's that for this lecture. See, it's quite long, but I just felt like I should explain this to you. In archicad, there are many ways. There's someone else that can come out and maybe show you a different way to do this fence, but this is just how I do it. I feel like if I do this and I just save these railings as my favorites and save it in my template, so that anytime I want to use this kind of fence, I just go back, I pick these railings, I use it. So it's so easy. All right, so that's that.